Hi, educators. Good morning. I'm back from the first slide that we have said. In the last slides, we've talked about personal development planning. We have looked at the importance of personal development planning and how we can kickstart. In this lesson, we'll be looking at 7 aspects of personal development planning. We will look at the guiding principle and how to plan our personal development goals. Remember, we said that planning is required for us to achieve desired outcome as far as being intentional of our personal development planning. The first aspect of this personal development planning is personal analysis. This is important because without personal evaluation, we are not going to be able to develop a good and effective goals, and without effective goal, planning is not required. For you to plan yourself well, you need to know where you are going and what you want to do. And as such, personal analysis is key. One, because it helps you to see yourself in the light that is better, and if it positions you to make right decisions. So personal analysis is quite important in planning. Number 2 is personal objectives. Personal objectives. It is quite important that we have personal targets and objectives that we want to achieve before we plan our personal development. Why is this important? After evaluating ourselves, we need to have specific objectives. For instance, our objectives can range from 1, I want to improve my communication skill in the next 2 months. Number 2, it could be I have phobia for controlling the class. I want to remove this phobia and I want to improve my self-esteem. It could be confidence to speak anywhere. It could be leadership and influence ability. It could be critical thinking. It could be ability to solve problems at an instant. These personal objectives are key because they give you direction and you are able to know exactly what you want to achieve. So one of the key aspects of personal development planning is having a very strong personal objective that is able to navigate you through. Number 3 is personal growth. Personal growth talks specifically on how well you want to go, the areas you are growing, and the areas that you still need to go. Of course, we all know that we have areas where we are growing, and when we have areas where we are least growing. So part of some of the things you need to consider in personal development, the key aspect is your personal growth. Number 4 is your personal skills. What are the skills that you have? All of us have one skills or the other, and then we lack one or the other. So in personal development plan, we have to look at what critical skills do we have, what are other skills that we are still growing up with, then what are skills that we do not have at all. This is quite important as skills are important in leading oneself to achieve personal development. Time management skill, personal leadership skills, stress management skills, they are all skills for leading yourself that leads to personal development. And of course, there are other skills like professional skills that is also required. So part of personal development planning, or part of the thing that must be inculcated, is of course personal skills that must be considered. What skills do you have? Are you still able to manage time very well, so that when you are planning, you look at, if I say I want to improve communications, can I manage myself well so as to achieve this improving communication skills or classroom leadership in 1 or 2 months? If I do not have these skills, I might need to extend the time a bit. Time management skill, I might need to extend it. Or do I have what it takes to manage stress from work and home at the same time? If not, that will take a bit of time for me to be able to adjust. Then when I'm planning, I have to consider all the skills that I have. Number 5 is personal improvement. You have to consider how well you want to improve, how well you are improving in specific areas when you are planning your personal development. Personal empowerment, it talks about your power and how well you are able to empower people. Personal power talks about your areas of influence. Personal power talks about your areas of influence. After looking at this, we looked at the guiding principle for personal development planning. Number 1, the principle of objectivity. Your planning must be realistic with specific objective. Your planning must be realistic with specific objective. What do we mean by this? You must look at, when planning your personal development, you must look at it from an angle that, are you sure you can achieve whatever you want to achieve in a specific time? Then what are your objectives for achieving them? Like I usually said, objectives are key to achieving results. You must have a notion. You must have an objective in mind for trying to achieve it. If the objectives are not good enough, if the objectives are not clear, if the objectives have bias, if the objective do not suit, then you won't achieve result. So you must be careful and you must critically be certain of why you are doing something. It is not because educator A is lively, that is why you want to become lively and develop yourself in that area. No, but it is because you want to endear students to yourself and you want to influence them better. So learning to have the right objective is key to effective planning and, of course, effective results. So have an objective in mind for wanting to develop yourself. This will be critical as far as your planning is concerned. Number 2, the principle of flexibility. You must ensure that your plans are flexible. They reflect different changes as far as your environment is concerned and your work nature is concerned and your time schedules are concerned. In most cases, when you are planning your personal development, you have to leave room for times when you are going to be very busy and you don't have time. You have to leave room for times when things are going to be getting tough and you might not even have interest. Times when you might need to follow and allow the interest to come back again. All these are very important so that on the long run, you do not later abandon all the plan overall and then you leave it forever. Sometimes, if you know the kind of person that you are, you may say, okay, I want to learn a particular skill, classroom leadership, in the next 2 weeks. I will give myself about 1 month to practice it, then I will come back to see some of the things I've done or learned. The principle of flexibility. That 1 month could be a month where you are going to be busy at school, and then of course you want to see how you want to leave those changes so that you won't get derailed in the direction you are moving. So this is quite important for you to do. Make sure your plans are flexible enough to reflect changes in your work schedule, changes in your environment, changes in your personal schedule, and whatever changes that is occurring outside or within your space. Number 3, the principle of specificity. Your plans should be specific with a major definite goal. Be specific about your objective. Now, there is one thing to have objective. There is another thing to be specific about the objective. Now, let me give an instance. As an educator, I remember one time like that. My objective as at that time, that was around 2019, early 2019. All I wanted to be able to do is to be able to influence students in a way where when I talk, they want to listen. Now, my objective was good, but I was not specific. Listen to what? Why must they listen? And how do I make them to listen? So, make sure that you have a major definite goal. I could have rearranged this way, although I achieved results, but I did not achieve a very better result because I was not specific about what I want to achieve. I could have put it this way, that when I talk, I want students to listen. I want to command respect in my voice. How do I do that? My goal is to be able to catch attention every time I speak. I want to catch the attention. Now, this is a specific objective, not that I want them to listen. Listen to what? So it is important that your objectives are specific. They are specific so that when you are planning, you know exactly what to plan for and some of these personal development activities to do. Another one is the principle of accountability. Your plans, you have an accountability mechanism that helps you to become accountable. That means your plans must be able to be evaluated at every point in time, and more importantly, it should have an accountability partner that looks at how well you are faring as far as the plan is concerned. Having an accountability partner is one way to ensure that ensures that you are following the plan. Most of the time, we are all confused at some point. Sometimes we are all busy at some point, and then of course we shift. We get emotional, and then we shift away from the plans to another plan entirely that is not part of the scope for that time, maybe because of so many things that is happening. So having an accountability partner is very important, or making sure you have an accountability mechanism where you get to give yourself daily account of how well your plan is moving. It is very, very important. Another principle is a principle of measurability. Your plans must be measurable. That means that since it is specific with a specific time being, it is time bound. You have a specific objective and you have the time for that, for achieving it. Then your plans must be measurable. You must be able to take into account and see, have I achieved these things? How far have I gone? And so on. Another one is that your plans must be sustainable. A good plan is sustainable and can be used for another plan of related cost. That means that if the templates are okay and fine, if how you plan it is effective enough, you can use the same model to achieve other other plans or other goals as that are part of the course. The last one on the principle is the principle of productivity. A good plan must lead to a productive result. A good plan must lead to a productive result. If at the first week, second week, you are not seeing changes, that means the plan is not good enough. Or sometimes it might seem based on whatever reason. However, at the first instant, a very good plan should start showing traces of a productive result. In the next slide, we will quickly look at key questions to ask yourself, how to plan your personal development, and key examples.